Dun, 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 dun. All right, we are back. We're born to be alive.
Yes, in the midst of the zombie apocalypse.
Welcome to Dawkins Snacker. Yes, your viral version of Dawkins Snacker. I'm Kyle Kreis. You may know me as the Snacker. I'm the guy who's always on the front lines of snack food and fast food, no matter what is at stake.
Yes, I'm Dr. Mike, and I still intend that every human should eat in such a way that it optimizes their physiology. I don't know, something like that.
Physiology.
I just want you to be happy and healthy.
I think that's what is that, a video game? Physiology 3.
In the midst of what's going on, let's ask the first question. What do you do? It's got to be challenging for somebody that's on a regimen, eating regimen, exercise regimen. Obviously, you're probably going to be thrown off mentally, physically, and then just the resources are depending on where you live and what's going on. I assume most places across America, people are probably what we call it panic shopping.
Panic shopping, just high anxiety, I think.
Yeah.
I've been out to the stores. I haven't seen, I haven't seen like Black Friday levels of anxiety at the stores.
It's definitely different. Yeah, I went over went out just to buy a soda or a kombucha. Sorry, excuse me. It's not a regular soda.
Hollywood Mike.
I don't drink regular soda.
Doc Hollywood here.
Yeah, kombucha and the lines were too long, and all the self checkouts were gone. So I had to I was on the way to putting it back, and then the Starbucks, they have a little Starbucks kiosk. They allowed me to purchase it there.
Oh, genius! Genius!
But everyone had baskets full of stuff.
Starbucks is I've seen this is that they're going totally no contact experience. You can't sit there. You can show up, get your drink, and leave.
And I was at the restaurant last night. The cashier was wearing gloves.
Got to.
Yeah. So I guess you so with regards to eating, this is like, all right, probably for a lot of people, eating on a regimen is probably off the table right now. It's just not the top priority.
The first thing I think of is this gives me an excuse to eat what I want. Come on, we're fighting a virus. Like, you can't judge me for eating sugar.
That's priorities change. So if you're happen to live near a bar, it's the only thing open, and you go out and you almost could justify different behaviors.
I've been off. I was off sugar for a while. I'm back on now. I'm kind of not even. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But if this goes on for weeks and months, 2 months if I keep eating like I have been, I'm going to be back. I'm going to be putting on weight. I'll be back at zero when it comes to progress.
Yeah. Well, so it's just be aware of it. Be aware that in any kind of crisis, your brain kind of shifts its priorities. Usually. Actually, you're probably going to want more sugar. Your brain's going to want more sugar.
Yeah.
Because you got to entertain all these thoughts.
And all the time. The bored, sitting around being bored. If you're staying at home, I wish I could say I was. I've been going out just to see how people are acting and to see what the different scenes are like.
To see how your fellow humans are reacting to this.
Yeah. And how it changes from day to day. Like out here, Ralph's is the main grocery store, right? And like everywhere, it was toilet paper and water at first that were sold out. But now, if you can get in there, I've seen lines outside of the stores, but now everything is gone. The meats are gone, except for, surprisingly, brats. There was a healthy supply of brats.
Brats.
Yeah. Like sausage.
Is it because it's German? I don't know.
I don't know. How weird that was the only thing in there.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah. I mean, it's still meat. Well, possibly meat.
I love sausage.
Possibly red meat, right?
Possibly red meat.
I don't know. It could be in there, yeah. Oh, actually, on the way over here, I don't know if you drove past. I drove past 2 gun stores.
Yeah.
Line out. Did you see that?
That has got me a little worried.
I was thinking, were they giving something away in there? But no, it was 2 gun, the same store, same company, 2 different locations. A line on a Sunday. and I think it must open at noon because the door wasn't open yet, and it was majority were young males. Like so it wasn't like concert tickets or it looked like
I think that's
the little creepy.
Yeah, that's where the fear is starting to come in. You see these people lining up for guns.
Yeah,
I know that there's probably going to be, if this continues and people lose their jobs, people are going to get desperate. There may be
you got no choice.
There may be a rise in crime, but I mean, we also have a ton of police in this city too. I can't imagine that it would get to the point where you need to defend yourself from someone looking for.
Yeah, I don't really need. What would I need from you? Maybe if food became, but I don't think so. Yeah,
the shipping seems to be there.
Yeah,
because Ralph's has been restocking, and I've been able to find like one day frozen pizzas. Well, look, here I am. Frozen pizzas were out, and I was like, shoot, I'm going to need frozen pizzas to get through this.
Yeah.
So I went back the next day. The pizzas were back. Now compare this to Target. I've also stopped at Target. Now Target has been a little bit different than a grocery store. They have food section.
Yeah, actually, it's getting a little more and more. It's getting bigger though. They're kind of like they're covering a lot of. They sell fresh meat.
Yeah. They sell everything basically a grocery store does, but they must not have the same lines of supply because Target has been wiped out, and I have not seen them restocking.
So a place like Ralph's, they have a faster turnaround time than because Target probably doesn't deplete their food as fast. Yeah, I got you.
How often does Target go through 20 cases of tomato soup?
The great chicken purchasing fiasco of 2020.
The soups have been. I've been surprised. What's been left is like cream of mushroom, the worst.
Cream corn. Yeah, peas.
So
probably a lot of peas left if you make a pea sandwich.
The soup selection has been poor. I was lucky enough to get to Ralph's and get some Campbell's chunky soups.
Yeah.
So I've got about a week's worth of soup.
And I wonder, like after this, I'll bet you there'll be, there's a group of people out there. They've been thinking this way for the whole doomsday mentality. I wonder how many people are going to be getting on board with that now. I mean, or they're kind of on board, and they're going to stay on board even after this resolves. But we get back to a normal sense. Will people still hold on to that going kind of like when you talk about your grandparents went through the Depression?
Yeah,
they hung on to that mentality.
Forever.
Like that's real. This is the first time any of us kind of experienced this sense. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how. We're gonna have to see.
Out here in Los Angeles, they've told us forever to have this kind of stockpile ready in case of an earthquake.
Right.
But I've been, I've never had, never had that. But now it's like, okay, now I've got a week's worth of soup ready. I've got a couple frozen pizzas.
Yeah. You get the door frame. You got to go in the door frame.
I'm not so much worried about the supply of food, but if I do get sick myself, I don't want to be out there possibly getting someone else.
So you're ready if I'm in the same boat. If I have anything that resembles close to those symptoms, I'm locking myself down. Pretty straightforward.
You've stockpiled a little food?
No, I didn't. It's almost like it's too late. Like I don't know if I, or maybe like sneak into one of those 24-hour liquor stores.
Yeah,
and they may have a few,
maybe some crackers or bread. I don't know.
I'm assuming they're raising. I don't know if they're going to raise their price. That would be kind of a dick move. Like that would be. I mean, the price gouge now would be like, ooh, that would be.
I've actually seen Ralph's
lower prices,
cut prices on items like dairy, cheese, and milk have been. I've seen cut prices. Target, I've seen cereal actually been cut. Now, I don't know if what across the board, but now from a healthy standpoint, I guess we should have talked about this before now. But if I'm going to try to stock up on foods and still try to be healthy,
I would think like tuna. Canned chicken. I mean, probably canned sardine. Like, I'll bet you the canned sardine section is still loaded up. That's like the absolute last resort would be canned fish.
Oh,
like the sardines but
that's just.
I have a feeling. I mean, I haven't been over there to the store. I'm sure the tunas are a go-to thing. Small tuna cans.
Yeah,
they're probably. I'm sure there's not much of that left, or that's probably in high demand.
Anything canned has
tuna
been,
crackers. You hear jokes about the Lunchables. It's kind of like a meal ready to go.
Okay.
I'm sure all these, I bet all these meal prep places are running they're selling out. Like the Blue Apron or whatever. All those,
I use HelloFresh, and I'm actually grateful because, I've been getting food.
You have some?
Each month.
They're still sending you stuff?
They sent me stuff. I get it every Wednesday. So they sent me last Wednesday. I got my regular. And I'm expecting that. I've gotten an email.
No emails or nothing like that?
God, I've gotten a million emails from every company from, comedy clubs down to...
Yeah, it's like a cut and paste, probably cut and paste CDC warning. But no, so far, it looks like the data, the people in Italy, the northern Italy kind of area got hit really hard, really fast. And listening to the medical authorities talk over there, they have some data on the course of this. Yeah, it looks like so far it's way early and we don't know, but it looks like anybody above 65 is in the highest risk according to their. Yeah. So it doesn't mean you're not 65. Oh, I could just do whatever. I mean, of course you got to But and there's also they made a simulated. Like a simulated spread, this kind of computer generated. They take these situations of what if we did a full quarantine, like if we did.
I've seen this.
Yeah. So a full lockdown. There's this kind of in between area where if we do kind of what we're doing, well, probably with a little more push from leadership in the country, and that probably would be the best way. There's once again, there's no way to know.
Yeah.
These people that study these things, they run simulations, so they're the ones we're looking to right now to say, hey, what's the likely stuff going to be here? And they lay out these simulations and say, well, if we did this, this might happen, this might happen. But it looks like kind of like a medium not a lockdown, but a medium kind of quarantine seems to be suggested that would eventually let this thing run out faster than
And in all of those models I've seen, it doesn't prevent people from getting sick.
Yeah, you're gonna get
from spreading quickly.
In the long haul, that option seems, if we had to choose one option, that one kind of medium range quarantine thing would eventually get us to less. It would get the least amount of people infected, least amount of people sick, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, as a doctor, you social quarantines or social distancing is probably is a regular part of the job. You're dealing with people sick all the time, not just coronavirus.
I just joined this group of physicians. I just read a whole bunch of stuff today from the medical point of view, and they're asking for. There's a group out there, about 50,000 physicians, people involved in the hospitals. They feel that we should be almost close to a little more aggressive with the quarantine part of it from the authorities, and they're seeing they're in the front line. They're seeing all, and their big choices are when someone comes to the hospital, you have to be able to decide, all right, is this set of symptoms in line with the virus? They don't seem to have enough testing available yet, and it's like, what do you do? And if someone does need critical care, and that's going to be the priority, and that's a different. I'm not out there in an emergency room setting, but this is what they're dealing with, and they're getting bombarded with people coming in there, and they have to, there has to be like a triage saying, okay, it looks like, because people are still going to get common colds, right, and people are still going to get the
flu,
other viruses, and that's it's a tricky time.
How, when before this, and you were dealing with patients on the regular, you probably had some social distancing.
Oh yeah.
There's everyday distancing.
So there's people that have. I mean, we don't see them day to day, but people that have, for whatever reason, it's either an inherited disease or acquired, where their immune system is weak, or for sake of a better word, it's compromised. And when they get sick, you need to isolate them. And so there are, depending on the hospital, there's isolation areas. So now what they're doing is, and the people that trust that they're doing a great job, the best they can, they're creating probably isolation units where someone comes in. If it's a positive test and they feel, then they'll have a place for them to go to reduce the possibility. Yeah, so that's there. I mean, you trust most places are there. We just hope that, I think what the fear is that if that would get overwhelmed, like and you'd run out of room, like that kind of situation. That's what kind of when you're trying to predict, we're thinking, oh, it looks like Italy did a pretty good job. So they I mean, I don't know, I'm not there, but just from listening to the leadership there talk about how they handled it, they had to get more ICU beds available. They're cutting down to elective surgeries are going to be delayed, just so they could open up more room for people that actually have critical care. They need critical care.
Yeah.
So it's a whole, and that's a whole other approach, than just the day-to-day stuff. I mean, there are places that do that somewhat, but now it's like times 10.
What, you even when you're dealing with patients on an everyday level, you probably had to disinfect or you had to keep the kind of cleanliness that we're all trying to keep now.
Absolutely.
What were maybe some easy tips that maybe we're not, because we're not used to this situation, like some things that maybe were commonplace for your practice?
Yeah, you don't if it's someone you kind of know, like it wasn't as common, so you kind of knew if there was someone that had for example, very low white blood cell count, neutropenic, and they had an infection, and they were, say they traveled somewhere. So most of the time they'd be in an isolated unit, and you go in there, interact with them at all. If you have to examine the body physically, you're going to be gloved up, probably double gloved. You're going to wear a mask. You're not going to breathe, and you're just going to be a little more aware. Like you're kind of like, you don't want to freak the person out, make them feel like super isolated. But, you also can't go in there and interact like as you would with someone with, without a possibility of a compromised immune system.
Well, what about just a normal person with a normal immune system? You still had to maintain a certain level of disinfection.
So, I mean, gloves, you never touch anybody without gloves. You kind of treat, now especially, you treat everyone. Everyone's going to be assuming that they have it. If they're stepping into a hospital, you automatically kind of like, all right, what's the worst case scenario? So until you're sure they're not, it's hard to say, because you just kind of, you're not really thinking about that from like, oh my God, during flu season, most people, like that had a different strand of flu, I don't think you really, just the awareness wasn't as intense as it is now. Yeah.
Now, what about my other doctor's appointments? I get my blood checked regularly for high cholesterol. I have sleep apnea, so I take trips to my sleep doctor. I see a cardiologist annually. Should I just be putting off these other doctors?
So it's going to depend. I mean, once again, I'm not. Every person handles this differently, but it looks like probably your doctor's office is going to recommend. You might get an email saying, unless you have these type of symptoms at the time, and then again, so you do it. You don't want to. You might not want to go in. It's they call it like non-emergent, non-emergency. But what do you mean by emergency? Obviously, you got chest pain, and you're still going to have people with chest pain every day. The ER needs to treat them, but probably like if you were someone that comes in on a routine physical. People aren't going to be doing those, like routine physicals, all the, like kind of non-emergency kind of things you go to the doctor for.
Yeah, I might
probably going to do like more refills can be done online.
Yeah.
Telemedicine is going to be probably a little more busier now if that option's available. I don't know how that goes, but yeah, and even procedures, any kind of surgical procedures that aren't a lifer, kind of like an emergency, it needs to be done in now or tomorrow. They're going to hold those off, and that's what they did in Italy. And they opened up all those beds as for potential respiratory issues with these.
And I mean, at least for me, that's another reason it's going to be harder for me to maintain my fitness and diet, because it's like these doctors kind of keep me on. I have to go every 3 months because they keep me on track. Like, okay, it's up. You gotta, what are you doing? You gotta crack down. And it's I kind of need some of that usually.
It depends though. It depends what kind of. I mean, if it's a practice that doesn't see, if it's kind of a general family practice, they may still it'll be available if you want to go out and do it. That just depends. As we don't know, we don't know what's down the road with regards to how much of a isolation is going to be suggested. Kind of like now it's kind of like, all right, there's some guidelines, 50 people, 100 people.
Yeah.
But in the days following, is it going to be, unless you need to go to the whatever? I mean, what, and then like it's going to be hard because people, we need to go out. I mean, it's going to be tough because you're not. Who's going to enforce it?
Exactly, right? Some people were saying, is it going to be police? Is it going to be military? I mean...
Yeah, I wouldn't even go there yet because it's probably not going to be like this. It's not going to be like...
no, I've only seen military in the streets on one day. That was September 12th, 2001 was the only day I saw. But what about the gym? Like, I've been, trying to stay with my gym. Like, I went on Saturday. I didn't go Sunday, but... they are trying to tell me that they're doing everything they can to keep it safe. And I don't know, I mean...
Yeah, it's a tough call. Like, I mean, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. It's a smaller gym. It's not a big, crowded, packed place. And most people there are, from 18 to 50.
Yeah.
Not that many older people there. And they're all kind of, for the most part, healthy. Yeah, I mean, someone has it and they sneeze and it's on, it's possible. But I guess another thing is too, you kind of, you don't want to be affected as much, but it's just a new area we never had to make these choices. Like you never had to make some of these choices you're making now.
Yeah, I know. And
you never even thought about, hey, do I go to Ralph's and buy a bunch of shit, or should I just buy a minimum? Do I go to the gym? Do I not go? Or should I stay? Like, you never had these choices to make before.
Yeah. Like, I went to Ralph's and got groceries, and I felt I didn't feel any fear there. But when I went to Target, and I didn't really have any kind of purpose, I was just there to kind of see how people were acting. And then I thought, this is irresponsible of me to be out here. But then here I am today. I got 2 comedy shows. So.
Yeah. Like, I was thinking, all right, so if I don't want to go to the gym, now this is way easier said than done.
Yeah.
You can go do sprints in the park. You can sprint down the street. You can do push-up. I mean, you could do, if you talk to like a dedicated fitness person, they'd be like, this might be a good time to do some fasting. not like biblical, not like biblical, but like, you might eat less, just eat less. And you could do some creative things on your own, like
how do you feel you're going to be doing fitness and exercise throughout this?
I go to the gym tomorrow. We'll see. I don't think he's going to close that place down. It's pretty small. And then I'm probably going to go out. I'll go out and walk on a trail. I know it's not that crowded. I'll just go out and walk. And I don't know. I feel like I have to get out a little bit, but trust me, like if I knew I had something to pass on, I would do all I can to, and I wouldn't be like, screw that. Like, it would.
And they're actually saying running is probably one of the more safer exercises. You're kind of out by yourself.
Yeah. You just hope that as this thing moves along and the above and beyond, the healthcare people are going above and beyond their Call of Duties, and they gather data and they present data, and the data reassures us that it's kind of going to run its course like the normal flu. You could argue now the mortality rate's higher, but we hopefully in time we call it like flat lines.
Yeah,
everything flat lines, and it'll be interesting to study how. It'll be interesting to see like the sociological studies on how people reacted, and the heart goes out for the people that have to suffer. They didn't do anything. It's how it got here. You can argue all day about that, but
that's my biggest fear is not getting it, but passing it to someone who is susceptible, and that that would be.
I guess you could. You could. Stay away. You're very aware. Like no one's rushing into a nursing home. No one's going to any type of like. Visiting. No one's visiting the hospital. I'm sure there are restrictions on that. So, I think you can do all you can. I mean, all the variables you have. that would, you can do all you can to do your part.
It takes a trust kind of in the rest of the population to go out and know that I'm trusting everyone else if they were feeling symptoms that they would not be out right now.
Yeah.
My fear is that some of the people who think that it's, total hogwash are just going to be a little more reckless, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
I think that's human nature.
One weak link in the chain can, it's kind of like any zombie movie. It's like the weak link can lead to everyone.
And it's just imagine like if this government imposed a lockdown.
Wow.
Then we've never seen that.
You
would be like, but you ain't the boss of me. Like to this particular government, you would say, well, you ain't the boss of me. Like you wouldn't, and that could be also like, we don't know. I mean, and the sociologists are trying to wrap their heads around, and people were asking them, hey, well, how would it be if we did hit? Well, and they're like, well, we never had it, so we don't know.
And we're just getting started, maybe. If you listen to the pod from a month from now, we might be breaking into those cans of sardines.
Yeah, Kyle was a great guy. Yeah, he donated me all his sardines. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go out there and get sardines now. I'm ill prepared on the canned meats.
I think I've done it, but a lot of hot sauce. Or you buy the one. I think they have sardines with the sauce is already in there.
Yeah,
for the weak people. Yeah, for the non-sea bearing folk, like you could get some hot tomato sauce in there but you're not going to deflect the sardine. You can't deflect the taste, but it I don't know. It makes it a little better.
The also emptied from the stores are the ramen section.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's going to be eating a lot of ramen.
That's actually bang for your buck. That's a good.
Sure, but isn't there a lot of sodium?
Yeah. I mean, but for 2 weeks, if that's all you have, and then you throw a little bit of meat in there if you have some. Make a stew. I mean, you can make a big old stew with ramen and you get a couple chicken breasts, cut it up, and it's all salt, but if your kidneys work, you're fine.
Yeah, is that the biggest problem with canned and jarred good? Is the salt?
Yeah, there's something in there keeping it fresh or keeping it from turning into
bacteria.
Funk. Yeah.
And that's what in the olden days,
but
everything was salt.
That's what you got to do. I mean, you like I said, hopefully, in a couple weeks less, it's over and you're back to normal, and then that 2 weeks or whatever, however long it is. I mean, I don't know. You do your best to not get way out of whack, but easier said than done.
Yeah,
and this is all new, so
yeah. And my fear now going into this is if I change my diet and fitness habits for the worse, that it's going to be even longer to get back on track.
Yeah. So try to go day to day. You got plan each day out. And try to do. I guess you can't go in the boxing gym now, but you could shadow box. You could push. Do 10 push-ups a day to start, or just set some little goal, and or just go walking.
Yeah, I imagine I'll be doing some walking. Yeah, shadow boxing would be.
You're gonna have the whole. You're probably gonna have wherever you're at. You're gonna have the whole sidewalk to yourself. Unless. Just don't go out I'm afraid to go out at 4 a.m. because that's when all the freaks that could be really that could be you could get a creepy feeling. I mean, you get it now in Los Angeles in the afternoon. You get a really kind of creepy feeling. Imagine you're out at 4 a.m. so you just or wake up early one day and and there's something moving over there by the tree.
And you've got a mask on.
And there's no one and there's nobody there. It's just you and the zombie.
Well,
and they have bunch of ramen noodles come out of their cup.
Yeah. They're hoarding all the toilet paper.
Yeah. It is. Nobody really. A lot of people know. A lot of people. Everyone has an opinion. Everybody has predictions because it's the human beings. We still fear the unknown, and here it is. And we're trying to do the best to wrap our heads around this. And with regards to health and fitness, I guess it just depends on your approach to it. Try to. I guess you can't maintain the way you're eating before, but just be aware.
And for someone like me, what about the drive-through lines? It seems like
how are the drive-through lines affected?
I've seen, I hadn't had any problems yet, and it seems to me like social distancing, but in effect, is it really? I mean, you have people in the kitchen that are making the food, people in the drive-thru that are serving the food. Is it fake social distancing, or is it really? Is the drive-thru safer than other things? I've seen a lot of the stores have closed their Taco Bell's closed their dining room areas, drive-thru only.
Okay. Yeah, I was at Baja Fresh yesterday. And they have a nice spread of different sauces, and all that's gone.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The forks, knives, napkins are all gone. You have to ask the counter server for the salsa, and he just touches the tray. And then the soda is available, the fountain soda, but I guess a lot of people go over there and they're grabbing the containers and so I think a lot of restaurants that have those
self-serve,
like classic Mexican restaurant has a really nice setup of salsas.
Yeah,
that you self-serve. So I think they're at least Baja Fresh was they removed all that. So they're doing whatever they can, and there was nobody there.
Yeah.
It was like the manager was like, when
Chipotle, there was nobody there. Now Pizza Rev had a sale on Saturday. So there were people in line.
Wow.
There was no one in dining, but there was a long line, and I was a little like, man, I'm uncomfortable waiting in this long line. I should have came back at a slower hour.
Yeah.
But and it was fully staffed. They had 4 or 5 employees there too. So
they didn't really make a big adjustment at all.
No, again,
just
on
the price.
The self-serve, the price was low. The self-serve stuff was gone as far as the red peppers or the Parmesan cheese.
Yeah. Oh, they don't give you any options to touch anything, pretty much.
Yeah, they just serve it up for you. But there was still a good bit of people. We'll see. I'm fascinated with the social part of it, and I'm kind of going out and seeing how people are reacting, which is might not be the wisest move on my behalf. But
it's new. Your brain kind of wants to know what's going on,
and I want to see it firsthand. You're reading everything on Twitter or online, and you're like, is that what's really happening? And so I kind of
we're in Hollywood, so there's a bunch of writers that are out watching and documenting, and there's going to be the way we're behaving now, that's all being recorded by some crafty writers, and there'll be a movie out that captures the essence of what it was like at this time. I think it could go all over the world and do that. Well,
I hope they show up at Flappers in Burbank for my 5 p.m. show.
Yeah. We're gonna be telling jokes tonight at Flappers at 5 p.m. If it's the most sanitary place in Burbank,
in all of Burbank comedy,
or one of the most sanitary places in Burbank. Because there was spaghetti there for so long. Viruses cannot survive in spaghetti.
Oh, yeah. So being a former spaghetti factory,
and they serve Rolling Rock beer. Rolling Rock beer is an instant crusher of viruses. So come on over there, 5. Grab yourself a Rolling Rock
and some spaghetti.
Yeah, you don't even have to laugh. Just sit there.
I think it's going to be an interesting show because I think people will be spread out and. This is on everyone's mind. So if you're not joking about it, are people going to relate to other stuff? If I'm up there talking about, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's your cause. And as the artist, maybe some people don't want to, they just want to,
maybe.
By the time, depends when you go up. By the time you're up there,
they'll be ready to go.
Every coronavirus joke is going to be already told, and there's really nothing else to say about it.
Well, luckily, I got my hot five on Trump. Then how about we'll get something else?
Yeah.
Well,
just stay motivated. Do what you got to do, and if you're into health and fitness, the rest of us are also struggling with trying to maintain and be creative and. Probably, I think most people are going to be eating less. We're going to eat less, not by choice.
I need to try that to try to eat less because I'm afraid that I'm going to be bulking up and then
I think it's kind of like going to happen more than people want. I mean, just under the situations, you're not going to have. You're not like if you want to go out and get a pizza, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, well, I did that yesterday.
Well, yeah.
As long as there are comedy shows, I will eat I'll eat a brick oven pizza.
See, and some I had a Nathan's hot dog, but Nathan's hot dog. I don't know if they're better health wise, but they taste good.
I think there's enough salt in them to kill whatever.
Just think about
virus.
it. Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up for now then. We've already plugged our show for Flappers.
Yeah.
You can where else? Am I anywhere else? Are you anywhere else this week?
No, just Flappers.
I don't even know.
5 p.m.
I'm going to Alaska. Still planning to go to Alaska for the Alaska Before You Die Comedy Festival on April 1st. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah. All right.